Anna Williams stood in the hallway of the Atlanta Metropolitan Hospital, holding a plastic bag containing her mother's belongings. 5 days had passed since the funeral of Angelica Williams, but the grief still squeezed her chest like a vice, making it hard to breathe freely. The 18-year-old felt utterly lost in this huge world, without the only close person she had. The oncology department nurse, a heavy-set woman in her late 50s, looked at her with sympathy. "Sweetheart, there's still a robe and a pair of slippers left. I collected everything on the nightstand. I'm so sorry for your loss. Your mom was truly wonderful, so patient. We all loved having her these past months." Anna was a fragile young woman of medium height, brown-skinned, with long curly hair and large blue eyes. She was the spitting image of her mother in her youth. Anna simply nodded, not trusting her voice. Her throat closed up every time someone mentioned her mother in the past tense. Just a week ago, Angelica was alive. She had been joking despite the pain, making plans for a release that never came. "Thank you for everything," Anna finally managed to say. "For the care, for the kindness." She hurried toward the exit, not wanting to spend another moment within those walls, saturated with the smell of medicine and human suffering. Outside, it was a warm April morning. The sun shone brightly, and it felt like a blasphemy. How could the world continue living normally when hers had completely collapsed? At home, in their small 2-bedroom apartment in the suburbs of Decatur, Georgia, Anna placed the bag on the kitchen table, unable to force herself to open it for a long time. Every item belonging to her mother was imbued with her presence, her warmth. Finally, summoning her courage, she carefully pulled out her mother's favorite blue robe, the slippers with embroidered flowers, and the collection of Langston Hughes poems that her mother reread during her final weeks. When Anna lifted the robe to put it away in the closet, a piece of paper folded in 4 fell out of the breast pocket. The young woman frowned. Her mother was always meticulous and never left unnecessary things in pockets. Unfolding the note, Anna saw her mother's familiar handwriting, clear, beautiful, the script she had tried to imitate as a child. "My dearest Anita, if you are reading these lines, it means I am no longer with you. I know you are hurting badly right now, and please forgive me for leaving you alone, but I couldn't leave without securing your future. Exactly 3 months after the funeral, come to my graveside at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. A person will be waiting for you there, someone who will help you understand much of what I couldn't tell you while I was alive. Trust him. He's a close friend. Remember, I will always love and protect you, no matter where I am. Your mom." Anna reread the note several times, unable to believe what she was seeing. Mom had planned everything in advance. She knew she wouldn't recover. And who was this friend? As far as Anna could recall, her mother didn't have any intimate friends, only colleagues from the Decatur Public Library's main branch and a few neighbors with whom she maintained friendly relations. The young woman sank onto the sofa, clutching the note. Her head was buzzing with unanswered questions. Her mother had always been an open book to her. They shared everything. They didn't keep secrets, or so Anna believed. A thought suddenly struck her. What if her mother had actually hidden a great deal? What if her entire life hadn't been as simple and understandable as it seemed? Angelica Williams had been a woman of extraordinary spiritual strength. At 47, she looked younger, slender, elegant, with intelligent blue eyes and a sweet smile. She worked as the head librarian, adored classic literature, and raised her daughter alone. She spoke reluctantly about her husband, Anna's father, saying only that he had died in a car accident when the girl was barely 1 year old. The following days passed in a strange haze. Anna mechanically went to her job at the small cafe, the Grindhouse, where she worked as a barista after school. She prepared for her final exams, sorted through her mother's things, but her thoughts constantly returned to the mysterious note. Several times she took it out from its hiding place beneath her mattress, where she had concealed it from curious eyes. She reread every word, trying to find a hidden meaning. Why exactly after 3 months? Which friend should come to the cemetery? And most importantly, should she go there? The rational part of her mind suggested that this could be someone's cruel joke, that someone might have placed the note in her mother's robe after she died, but the handwriting was unmistakably her mother's. Anna knew it better than her own. A week after the discovery, a neighbor, Mrs. Vivian Howard, an elderly woman who sometimes watched over Anna's mother when Anna was at work or school, came to visit. "How are you holding up, sweetie?" she asked sympathetically, settling down in the kitchen with a cup of tea. "Are you doing okay?" "I'm fine," Anna lied. "Mrs. Howard, was Mom writing to anyone? Maybe calling someone when I wasn't home?" Vivian shook her head thoughtfully. "No, I don't think I noticed. Although in the last few months your mom seemed a little preoccupied. She spent a lot of time sitting at the table writing something. I thought she was keeping a diary or writing her memoirs. Lots of folks do that when, well, you know." And letters arrived. Letters? Who writes letters these days? Just bills and junk mail. Oh, wait, the woman frowned, trying to remember. "I think in March. The mailman brought her a few envelopes several times. I was right there with your mom. She immediately put them away, didn't show me the contents, said it was about her library work." Anna's heart beat faster. So there was correspondence. But with whom? And where were those letters now? After the neighbor left, the young woman organized a genuine search of the apartment. She checked every closet, dresser, and gap in the floorboards. She looked under mattresses and inside books, examined every box and folder, but found no letters or notes. Instead, in the furthest drawer of her mother's desk, behind old photographs, she found a small, leather-bound notebook. Anna had never seen it before. Opening it to the first page, she saw a brief entry. "Started February the 12th. Dr. Caldwell said, 6 months to a year. Need to prepare everything for Anita." The remaining pages were filled with tiny script, but upon closer examination, it turned out to be plans, to-do lists, and addresses. Many of the notes were made with conditional signs that Anna couldn't decipher. On one of the last pages, she found an entry made with the now familiar large letters: A. Riverdale Memorial Park, Section 15, Row 7. Agreed on exactly 3 months, 2 p.m. Everything is ready. Anna quickly calculated in her mind. Her mother died on April the 15th. 3 months later would be exactly July the 15th. So the note wasn't a coincidence. Her mother had really planned everything in advance. Time passed agonizingly slowly. Anna passed her final exams, received her high school diploma with honors, but it brought her no joy. Her mother had so dreamed of being at her graduation. She had bought a new olive-colored dress with a white collar that hung in the closet with the tag still on. She had even planned to host a small celebration at home, baking a cake using her grandmother's family recipe. The graduation ceremony became an ordeal for Anna. She wore a simple blue dress she had bought the previous year. She tried to smile and congratulate her classmates, but inside, she was empty. Her guidance counselor, Ms. Evelyn Harrison, approached her several times. "Anita, darling, I know how hard this is for you, but your mother would have wanted you to celebrate this day. You're an excellent student. You'll get into college. You'll be successful." "Thank you, Ms. Harrison," Anna replied, trying not to show her tears. "I'm trying." But when the parent dance was announced, she quietly slipped out of the hall and sat for a long time in the school courtyard, looking at the stars. "Mama," she thought, "what am I going to do without you? Why did you leave so soon?" The young woman visited her mother's grave several times, tending to it and bringing flowers. Each time she sat for a long while on the nearby bench, telling her mother about her business, about what was happening in the city, sharing her doubts and fears. And each time she looked carefully around, watching for anyone suspicious who might be observing her. But the cemetery was quiet and deserted. Only occasionally did she encounter other visitors lost in their own sorrow. The job at the cafe helped distract her a little from her sad thoughts. The owner, Marina Jackson, a kind woman in her early 40s with a gentle nature and an understanding of human troubles, tried to support Anna as best she could. Don't torment yourself, sweetheart. Your mom was a wonderful person, and she wouldn't have wanted to see you this sad. You're young. You have your whole life ahead of you. You'll go to college. You'll find your happiness. Marina often told Anna how well she knew her mother and how much she respected her. Angelica was a special person, she said, setting tables for the cafe's opening. So cultured, so well-read. When she came here, she always asked how things were and talked about you with such pride. My Anita is the best in her class, she'd say. She's going to college to be a Spanish literature and language professor. It was clear you were the meaning of her whole life. Anna nodded, thankful for the attention, but inside, everything was burning with longing and uncertainty. She had submitted applications to the Georgia State University College of Education for the Spanish Language and Literature program. She wanted to be a teacher, just as she and her mother had planned, but now it seemed so distant and unreal. How could she study when she felt such emptiness inside? How could she make plans when the person she loved most was no longer by her side? In early July, something strange happened. Anna was returning home from work late at night when it was already dark outside. Passing through the Decatur Square Park, she noticed that someone was following her. Turning around, she saw a middle-aged man dressed in dark clothes. He walked some distance behind her, but when she quickened her pace, he hurried too. Anna's heart started beating faster. She turned down a different street, but the man followed her. The young woman then quickly headed for the nearest 24-hour convenience store and went inside. Through the window, she saw the stranger linger for a moment at the entrance and then walk away. I imagined it, Anna convinced herself. Just a coincidence. Why would anyone be looking for me? But the next day, when she was going to the cafe, she again noticed the same man. He was standing near the bus stop and seemed to be watching her. This time, Anna walked decisively up to him. "Excuse me, are you looking for me?" The man was flustered, muttered something incomprehensible, and quickly walked away. Anna didn't understand what that had been, but an unpleasant feeling lingered. Several days later, an unfamiliar older man entered her cafe. He ordered a coffee. He sat for a long time at a table, occasionally glancing at Anna. Finally, he approached the counter. "Excuse me, is your name Anna Williams?" "Yes," the young woman replied cautiously. "And who are you?" "My name is Ethan Carter. I'm a private investigator. I'm working on a client's behalf. He's been looking for the Williams family for many years. Could I speak with you?" Anna felt everything inside her tighten. A detective? Who could be looking for her and her mother, and why? "What do you want to talk about?" she asked carefully. "It concerns your family. It's better to talk in private. Could we meet after your shift?" Anna was confused. On the one hand, curiosity wouldn't leave her alone. Who was looking for them and why? On the other hand, she was afraid. Her mother had always taught her to be careful with strangers. "I don't know," she said uncertainly. "Mom never said anyone was looking for us." "I understand your hesitation," Carter said softly. "But believe me, my client has the best intentions. He has been looking for you for almost 17 years. But Anna was firm. "No, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to meet anyone." The detective nodded, left his business card on the counter, and walked away. Anna stared at the card for a long time, pondering. It read, "Ethan Carter, Private Investigator, License number 4951. That evening at home, she told Mrs. Howard about the encounter. The neighbor frowned seriously. "That's strange, Anna. Your mom never mentioned having any debts or obligations. Besides, why look for someone through a detective if you can just write or call?" "Maybe it's related to Dad," Anna speculated. "Mom said he died, but what if—" "Don't get ideas, sweetie. Maybe it's a complete mistake. Williams isn't such an uncommon name." But Anna couldn't calm down. In the following days, she noticed Carter several times near the cafe or near her home. He didn't approach, but it was clear he was watching her. In July, with only a week left until the appointed date, Anna decided she would definitely go to the cemetery. Perhaps her mother's mysterious friend could also explain this strange situation with the detective. Curiosity and the hope of learning something new about her mother overcame her fear and doubts. July the 15th was bright and warm. Anna specifically requested the day off from the cafe, explaining to Marina Jackson that she needed to visit her mother's grave. This wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, she was at the cemetery. Riverdale Memorial Park was one of the oldest in the area, with centuries-old oak and maple trees and marble monuments, many of which were still reminders of earlier times. Her mother's grave was in the newer section, where people who had passed in recent decades rested. Anna approached the familiar gravesite with the cross that held a photo of her mother, young, smiling, just as she had been about 5 years before the illness. She placed fresh flowers on the grave and quietly said, "Mom, I came, just like you asked." "Anna." The young woman started and turned around. Standing a few feet away was an older man, about 60 years old, with gray hair and brown eyes. He was wearing a dark suit. In his hands was a bouquet of white roses. Are you the person my mother wrote about?" Anna asked uncertainly. The man nodded and stepped closer. His face expressed deep sorrow, but also a sense of relief. "My name is Elias Thompson. I am your mother's first cousin. I'm so sorry for your loss, Anna. Angelica was a wonderful woman." "Cousin?" Anna looked at him, confused. "But Mom never told me about any relatives. She said she had no one left." Elias Thompson sighed heavily and placed the roses by the monument. "It's a long, complicated story. Your mother was a very proud woman. We had a falling out many years ago over a misunderstanding, but in the last few months before her passing, we reconciled. She wrote to me, told me about her illness, and asked me to help you." "So you were the one she was writing to?" Anna murmured. "And here I was thinking—" "Come on, let's sit down somewhere," Elias Thompson suggested. "We need to talk. I have something very important for you." They settled on a bench on the shady path near the chapel. The older man took a thick envelope from the inside pocket of his jacket and handed it to Anna. "Your mother asked me to give you this, but first I need to tell you the story of our family that Angelica kept from you all these years." Elias Thompson spoke slowly, choosing his words carefully, as if each one caused him pain. Anna noticed his hands trembling slightly, an emotional tremor. He was a stocky man with noble features, graying hair, and sharp eyes. He exuded an air of intellect and a special spiritual warmth. "Your mother and I grew up together," he began slowly. "My father and her mother were siblings. After the war, our families lived in the same house in Atlanta's historic West End. We kids grew up like brother and sister. Angelica was 13 years younger than me, but we were very close." Anna listened, not daring to interrupt. For the first time in her life, she was hearing about her mother's relatives. "Our parents died in a car accident when Angelica was 16 and I was 29. I was working, living in a residency. Angelica was taken in by our aunt, her mother's sister. But the aunt was a strict woman, and Angelica didn't have an easy time living with her." "Why did Mom never tell me about the family?" Anna asked softly. "It's a complicated story," Elias Thompson sighed. "When Angelica finished high school, she enrolled in the College of Education to study library science. She was a very capable girl. She excelled in her studies. That's where she met her first husband, your father, Robert Hayes. He was a student at the School of Drama, studying directing. Handsome, talented, charming." At the mention of her father, Anna involuntarily tensed up. Her mother had said little about him, and reluctantly, only that he had died in a car crash when Anna was very small. "They met at a student arts festival," Elias continued the story. "Robert was directing a play. Angelica was helping with costumes and sets. It was love at first sight. I remember how she told me about him. Her eyes were sparkling, her cheeks were flushed. She was so happy. And what happened next? They married in their sophomore year. Robert was from a well-off family. His father ran a small repertory theater in another city. He had connections in the theater world. After graduation, Robert quickly secured a position as a director at the National Black Arts Repertory Theater. Angelica gave birth to you when she was 29. It seemed like everything was working out perfectly for her. Elias looked down at the gravestone. I visited them often in those first years. I remember how happy they were with you. Robert would carry you in his arms, read you stories, even though you were still tiny. Angelica couldn't have been happier. She had the family she had always dreamed of. But something went wrong, Anna asked quietly. Unfortunately, yes. Robert turned out to be an inconstant man. Success went to his head. The theater where he worked became one of the leading ones in the city. His plays were hits. They wrote about him in the newspapers. And he started cheating on Angelica with actresses from his theater. At first, they were just brief flings, but then Soleil Walker showed up, a principal actress at the theater. Did Mom know about the cheating? Not at first. Angelica was very trusting. She couldn't even imagine her husband capable of betrayal. And Robert hid his affairs well, but then she started noticing strange things. He became colder, stayed at work longer, and had calls she couldn't understand. Elias took a white handkerchief from his pocket and wiped his eyes. I tried to warn her. The rumors reached me too, but Angelica didn't want to listen. It can't be, she'd say. Robert loves me and Anita. It's just gossip from envious people. And then what had to happen, happened. When you turned 1 year old, Angelica went to his office to congratulate her husband on the closing night of another premiere. She wanted to surprise him. She brought his favorite cake and found Robert in his office with that Soleil Walker, in a situation that left no room for doubt. Anna felt everything churning inside her. Dad was alive. He had been alive all this time. Mom divorced him? She asked with a trembling voice. Yes, but not immediately. First, she tried to save the family. Robert swore it would never happen again, that it had been a momentary weakness. They even tried to repair the relationship, but after 6 months, it all happened again. And that's when Angelica understood that he would never change. And you helped her? Elias Thompson looked down guiltily. No, and that's my biggest mistake. I thought she was acting wrongly, destroying the family over a man's weaknesses. I said she had to endure it, that men are like that. They cheat, but they love their families. We had a terrible fight. I said some harsh words that I've regretted my whole life. I called her proud. I said she was only thinking of herself and not the child. And what happened next? Angelica was a woman of principle. To her, betrayal was unforgivable. She filed for divorce, packed her things, and left with you without saying where she was going. Robert tried to find her. He wrote, called all our mutual acquaintances, but to no avail. After that fight, we didn't see each other all these years. Until the last months of her life, Anna guessed. Exactly. In March of this year, I received a letter from her, a thick envelope in her familiar handwriting. Angelica wrote that she regretted our fight, that she wanted to reconcile before she left. She told me about her illness, about how she feared leaving you alone, without the support of close people. Elias paused for a moment, gathering his thoughts. Somewhere in the distance, birds were singing. A light breeze rustled the leaves of the old trees. I replied immediately. I wrote that I, too, regretted the fight, that I had thought about her and you all these years. We started writing to each other every week until she passed away. She sent me your photos, told me about your successes in school, about what a bright and beautiful girl you had become. And reading her letters, I realized what a mistake I had made back then. What mistake? I didn't support her in the most difficult time of her life. Instead of helping, I judged her, and she was right. You cannot live with a person you can't trust. Elias took a photograph from the inner pocket of his jacket and showed it to Anna. It showed a young woman in a white dress next to a man in a suit. This is me with my wife, Lydia, on our wedding day. We were married for 25 years, and I never cheated on her because I loved and respected her, and I understood that trust is the foundation of a family. What happened to your wife? She passed away 5 years ago from lung cancer. Elias's voice trembled. The very same disease as your mother. I'm a doctor, but I couldn't help her, and we didn't have any children. It wasn't possible. Anna looked at him with compassion. Now she understood why he had been so overjoyed by her mother's letter. He was alone, too. And Angelica also asked me to find your father and get in touch with him, Elias continued. Find him? So he's alive? Anna's breath caught. Alive? And he has been looking for you and Angelica all these years. Robert Hayes became a fairly well-known director, but he didn't find personal happiness. He married twice more after his divorce from your mother, but both marriages failed. He has no other children. He says losing you two was the greatest tragedy of his life. Anna was silent, trying to absorb what she had heard. Everything she believed, everything she knew about her family, turned out to be a lie or an incomplete truth. Her father was alive, she had an uncle, and her mother had hidden the truth her whole life. Where is he now? She finally asked. In New York City. He works as the artistic director at the Harlem Stage Theater. Very successful, well known in theater circles. Angelica asked me to give you his contact information, but she left the decision to meet entirely up to you. Elias Thompson handed her the thick envelope. Here is his address, phone number, and also several letters he wrote to your mother all these years, but she never received them. He didn't know where you lived. Plus, there is a savings passbook in your name. Angelica saved money for your education since your birth, $3,000 every month, whatever she could spare from her small salary. And you? Anna asked. What do you do for work? I'm a cardiac surgeon at the Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. I run the department. I was married, but my wife died 5 years ago from cancer. We didn't have children. He smiled sadly. After Lydia's death, I was completely alone. Work, an empty apartment, rare meetings with colleagues. That's why Angelica's letter was a real gift to me. You are the only close relative I have left. But why did Mom stay silent for so long? Why didn't she tell me the truth? She was afraid of disappointing you. She had many doubts and worries about this in her letters. She wrote, "What if Anna finds out the truth and won't forgive me? What if she realizes I deprived her of her father because of my pride?" And she was also very afraid that Robert might cause pain to you or her again. And now he has changed? I met with him twice, in June and early August. Your mother asked me to find him and assess what kind of person he had become. And you know what impressed me the most? What? He kept some of your baby things. He was hoping that someday he could show them to you. And he also saved every photo of you and your mom he could find. Anna felt a lump forming in her throat. He really was looking for us all this time? He hired private investigators, reached out to missing persons services. One of the detectives even found your trail. Do you remember a man approaching you at the cafe recently? Carter, Anna exclaimed. So, he hired him? Exactly. Robert hired him many years ago, but the detective only found false leads. This year, he finally managed to track down the correct address. But when the detective reported that he had found you, Robert forbade him from meeting you directly. He said he first had to contact me and get your permission so as not to shock you. The sun began to dip toward the horizon, and it grew cooler on the path. Elias Thompson rose from the bench. I have to go, but if you want to talk more, call me any time. He handed her his business card. And remember, whatever you decide about your father, you have an uncle who cares about you very much. Anna took the envelope and the card, still not fully believing the reality of what was happening. Thank you, she whispered, for coming, for telling me the truth. I'm the one who should thank you, Elias replied, for giving me the chance to atone for my guilt toward Angelica. She was right about everything. She always was. At home, Anna hesitated for a long time before opening the envelope. Her hands trembled with emotion. Her thoughts were jumbled. She put the kettle on, made chamomile tea with honey, just the way her mother liked it, took out her mother's favorite shortbread cookies from the cupboard, and only then sat down at the kitchen table and nervously opened the envelope. Inside were several folded sheets of paper, a savings passbook, a business card, and 2 photographs. The first photo showed a man in his mid-40s, tall, with dark hair starting to gray at the temples, dark eyes, and a gentle smile. He was standing next to a theater poster on which Anna read, Harlem Stage Theater, premiere of The Cherry Orchard, director Robert Hayes. The second photo showed the 3 of them, young mom and dad holding a tiny baby girl in a white dress in their arms. All 3 were smiling, and you could see how happy they were. "Dad," she whispered, touching the photograph with her fingers. "That's me, so small." The first was a letter from her mother, dated April of this year. It was written on several sheets in careful, small handwriting. "My dearest Anita, if you are reading this letter, it means Uncle Elias has fulfilled my request. Forgive me for hiding the truth about your father and our family for so long. I thought I was doing the right thing, protecting you from disappointment and pain. But now, when I have so little time left, I understand. Every person has the right to know their history, their roots. Robert Hayes is your father, and he loved both of us. Yes, he made a mistake. He was unfaithful to me, but people aren't perfect. I was too proud to forgive, too stubborn to give you 2 a chance to know each other, and now I torment myself over that decision every day. When I learned of my illness, my first thought was of you. What will become of my girl when I am gone? Who will help her in a difficult moment? Who will give her advice? Who will simply hug her when she's sad? And I realized, you have a father who can be a support. In this envelope, you will find his letters. He wrote them every year on your birthday, hoping that someday we would receive them. I received them through Uncle Elias, who met with the detective, Carter, whom your father hired to find us. The decision to meet him is yours alone. But know this, he is a decent person who sincerely regrets his mistakes and can give you what I couldn't, the chance to get a good education in the city, build a career, and live a full life. In the savings passbook is $350,000, everything I could save over the years, putting aside a little bit every month from my small librarian salary. This will be enough for your first years of college, but your father has more resources, and most importantly, he desperately wants to help you. I love you more than life itself, and I want you to be happy. Don't repeat my mistakes. Don't let pride destroy family ties. Forgive both of us, me and him. People are bound to make mistakes, but it's important to know how to forgive. Your mom, who will always love you. Anna dried her tears and picked up the next letter. It was a letter from her father, dated on her birthday. My dearest daughter, today you turned 17 years old. I don't know where you live, what you look like, what you dream of, but every day I think of you, imagining how you've grown. I know your mother considers me unworthy of being your father, and in some ways, she's right. I made a mistake that I cannot forgive myself for. I betrayed the most beloved people in my life out of momentary weakness and arrogance. But if you ever want to meet me, if you can find a place in your heart for forgiveness, I will be immensely happy. I am prepared to apologize for as long as it takes, prepared to show that I have changed, that I have become a different person. I have achieved a lot in life. My plays are performed in the best theaters in the country. I am known and respected in professional circles. But all of this is meaningless without you. You are my daughter, my own blood, and I am prepared to do anything to atone for my guilt to you and your mother. With love and hope, your dad, Robert. There were several more letters from different years. In one, written on her 10th birthday, her father wrote, Daughter, today I bought you a gift, a beautiful old edition of Langston Hughes' poems in an antique binding. I remember how much your mom loved his poetry. The book is in your room that I prepared for you in my apartment. There is everything an adolescent might need there. Beautiful furniture, books, even a piano. I hope that someday you will get to see it. In another letter, dated on her 15th birthday, he wrote about his failed marriages. Anita, I tried twice to create a new family after the divorce from your mom, but nothing came of it. You see, when you lose true love through your own stupidity, it's very difficult to find anything like it. I realized that Angelica was the love of my entire life, and you are the dearest thing I have." In the second-to-last letter, written 2 years ago, her father described his lifestyle. "Daughter, I am 47 now and live alone in a large apartment in Harlem. I work a lot, sometimes very late. Few friends, mostly colleagues from the theater. But every night when I return home, I walk into your future room, sit there, and think about you. I imagine you doing homework, reading books, dreaming." In the last letter, written just 6 months ago, he wrote, "Daughter, I am 49 now. I am starting to realize that I might not get to see you. If something happens to me, you know, you were the meaning of my life. I have already willed all my property to you, the apartment in New York, the country house upstate, the savings. But more than anything, I want to leave you my love." I instructed Detective Carter to continue the search at any cost. He recently reported that he had hit a new lead, and I desperately hope his efforts will soon succeed. And for now, I am left only with hope and the memory of that short time when we were a family. Your dad, who never stopped loving you. Anna read the letters, crying. So much pain, so many missed opportunities, so much wasted time. Her mother, of course, wanted the best. But did she have the right to deprive a daughter of her father and a father of his daughter? She opened the savings passbook. The account truly held $350,000. Her mother had saved it little by little every month from her small librarian salary. How much she must have denied herself, Anna thought, to save even that amount. The business card read, "Robert Hayes, Artistic Director, Harlem Stage Theater, Meritorious Artist," and a phone number. Anna picked up her phone and dialed the number several times, but she cut the call short, unable to commit. What would she say to a person she didn't know or remember? How would she explain why she was calling only now? How should she start the conversation? She stood up, walked around the room, drank more tea, and sat back down by the phone. "Mom wanted me to meet him," Anna convinced herself. "That means it's the right thing to do. I need to be brave." Finally, gathering her courage, she dialed the number and waited for an answer. "Hello?" The voice was deep, masculine, a little tired but pleasant. Is this Robert Hayes?" Anna asked with a shaky voice. There was silence on the other end. Then, "Oh my God, Anna, is that you, daughter?" "Yes, it's me," Anna whispered. "My darling." Tears were audible in her father's voice. "I've waited for this call for so long. Tell me you're okay, that everything is all right with you." "I read your letters. Uncle Elias gave them to me." "Elias found you? Thank God. And how is your mother? Elias said she was ill." Anna felt a lump in her throat. "Mom passed away 3 months ago from cancer." A long silence. Then a quiet voice, full of pain. "I'm so sorry, daughter. I wanted so badly to reconcile with her, to apologize, but I was too late. Did she forgive me? She wrote in the letter that she forgave me, right?" Hope rang in her father's voice. "She really forgave you?" "Yes, and she asked me to forgive you too. She said people have the right to make mistakes." "Anita, I know I have no right to ask, but would you consider coming to New York? I want so much to see you, to talk to you. I'll pay for your trip. You can stay at my place." "I'll think about it," Anna replied uncertainly. "Of course, don't rush. I understand that this is a lot of stress for you too, but know this, I will wait as long as necessary." They talked for another half hour. Robert asked about her life, studies, and future plans. He talked about himself, the theater, and how his life had changed over the years. Anna gradually relaxed. Her father turned out to be a pleasant conversationalist, an interesting person. "Listen," he said at the end of the conversation, If you decide to come, I have something special for you. Your room has always been yours. I waited so long for you to come home someday, and also many photos of us with your mother. I think you'll be interested to see them." "Okay," Anna said. "I'll call you tomorrow and let you know when I can come." "Thank you, daughter. Thank you for calling. This is the happiest day of my life in the past 18 years. After hanging up, Anna sat with the phone in her hands for a long time. Her father seemed like a sincere, regretful person, and her mother was right. He really had changed. The next day, Anna woke up with a firm decision. She would go to New York. She had been unable to sleep for a long time during the night, thinking about the conversation with her father, rereading his letters, and looking at the photographs. And the more she thought, the more she understood. Her mother was right to guide her toward him. In the morning, she called Robert. "Dad, I've decided. I want to come see you." "Really?" Tears of joy were audible in her father's voice. "When?" "I'll arrange everything." "Maybe this weekend. Saturday?" "Of course. Saturday. I'll send the money for the train ticket right away. First class, sleeper car, and I'll pick you up at Penn Station without fail." The phone conversation lasted almost an hour. Robert Hayes asked many questions about his daughter's life, hobbies, and future plans. He talked about himself, his work, and how his life had changed over the years. "I want to show you New York," he said excitedly. "The theaters, the museums, the parks. I want to introduce you to my friends, to the actors at our theater. And most importantly, I want to get to know you, to understand who you've become, what your dreams are." They agreed that Anna would arrive in New York on Saturday morning and return home Sunday evening. For now, she wasn't ready for an extended stay in an unfamiliar city with a virtually unknown person. "I understand your caution," Robert said. "We're not rushing. The main thing is that you agreed to come." On Thursday, Anna met with Uncle Elias. He drove up in his car and invited her to a nice restaurant in downtown Decatur. He wanted to celebrate her decision to meet her father. "I'm proud of you," he said, raising his glass of iced tea. "It takes courage to do this, to forgive and give a person a second chance." "And you don't regret telling me the truth?" Anna asked. "Maybe Mom was right to hide all this?" Elias shook his head. "No, I don't regret it. The truth is always better than a lie, even if it's painful. And your mother did what she thought was right at the time. But people change, circumstances change, and you always had the right to know your father." He told Anna more details about his meetings with Robert. "You know what impressed me the most? He still remembers everything about you and your mother. What her favorite flowers were, what music she listened to, what you looked like as a baby. And he also said that every year on your birthday, he buys a cake and puts it on the table. He celebrates your birthday alone." "That's sad," Anna said quietly. "Yes, but now he has a chance to change everything. If you want it, of course." On Friday evening, Anna packed for the trip. She chose the nicest outfit she had. She wanted to make a good impression on her father. Mrs. Howard came to say goodbye. "Don't worry, sweetheart. Everything will be fine, and if anything happens, call me. I'm always close by. Thank you, Mrs. Howard, for everything, for helping Mom, for supporting me now." "What are you saying, dear? We're neighbors, practically family now." On Saturday morning, July 22nd, Anna boarded the train to New York. The trip from Georgia to the city took about 18 hours. She traveled alone in the sleeper car. Her father had truly bought a first-class ticket. The whole way, she couldn't settle down due to excitement. She read a book, watched the passing fields and forests outside the window, but her thoughts constantly returned to the approaching meeting. What did her father look like now? Did he resemble the photograph? Had he changed? Would they find common ground? And most importantly, would he be disappointed in her? After all, he had dreamed of this meeting for 18 years, and she was just an ordinary girl from the suburbs with no special talents or achievements. The train arrived at Penn Station exactly on schedule. The station was noisy and crowded. People were rushing about their business. Announcements sounded over the loudspeakers. Music played somewhere. Anna stepped out of the carriage with a small suitcase in her hands and began to look around. And then she saw him. A tall man in an elegant gray suit was standing at the exit with a bouquet of white roses in his hands. Anna recognized him immediately, although he had noticeably aged since the photograph was taken. His hair had turned completely gray. Wrinkles had appeared on his face, but his eyes remained just as kind and attentive. Anna approached uncertainly, as if afraid it was a dream. "Dad," she said quietly, and he hugged her carefully, as if afraid she would disappear. They stood in the middle of the noisy station, embracing and crying. Both understood that this was the moment they had waited for so many years. "You are so beautiful," Robert whispered, pulling back and looking at his daughter. "Exactly like your mother in her youth. The same eyes, the same smile. And you look exactly like in the photograph, just a little older." Anna smiled through her tears. "Yes," he smiled sadly, "but the main thing is that we finally found each other." On the way home, Robert showed his daughter New York, Times Square, the Brooklyn Bridge, Broadway. He told her about the city's history, his work, and the theater. Anna looked out the taxi windows and couldn't believe she was in the city, that the father she thought was dead was sitting beside her. "And now for the main thing," Robert said when they arrived at a beautiful old building in Harlem. "I want to show you your home. I hope you like it." Robert Hayes's apartment in Harlem impressed Anna with its size and decor. 4 rooms, high ceilings, parquet floors, antique furniture. The walls were covered with theater posters, photographs with famous actors, diplomas, and awards. "This is your room," he said, opening the door to a bright room with 2 windows. "I prepared it many years ago. I always hoped that someday you would come here." The room had beautiful light wood furniture, a bed with a carved headboard, a desk, and bookshelves filled with classic literature. Reproductions of paintings by famous artists hung on the walls, and on the dresser were photographs of her mother at different ages. "Where did you get Mom's photos?" Anna was surprised. "Your Uncle Elias sent some, and I kept the rest from the time of our marriage." Robert smiled sadly. "You know, I loved your mother all this time. Despite everything, I understand that I don't deserve forgiveness, but what happened was the biggest mistake of my life." He walked over to the closet and opened it. He pulled out a bag of baby clothes, tiny dresses, jackets, coats. "These are your baby things," he said quietly. "When your mother left, she said you wouldn't need them anymore, but I couldn't throw them away. They've been here all these years, reminding me of you." "I remember this pink one," Anna whispered. "Mom showed me a photo where I'm wearing this dress." "I have an album of our family photos," Robert said. "Do you want to see it?" They spent the next hour looking at pictures. Anna saw herself as a tiny baby, being bathed, fed, taking her first steps. She saw happy young parents who adored their daughter. "You were so funny," Robert laughed, pointing to a photograph where 1-year-old Anna had smeared chocolate all over her face. "And so bright. At 1, you were already saying mama and dada, and by 18 months, you were speaking in sentences." "Mom said I started speaking and reading early," Anna said, "but she never mentioned that you taught me." "We taught you together. Every night we read stories, played educational games. You were the center of our universe." During lunch at a cozy restaurant near the apartment, Robert talked about his work in the theater, the plays he directed, and the actors he worked with. Anna listened with interest. The world of theater seemed so distant and inaccessible to her. "Would you like to tie your life to the theater?" he asked. "Do you have any creative inclinations?" "I don't know," Anna answered honestly. "I applied to the College of Education. I wanted to be a Spanish literature and language teacher, but now I'm not sure. Maybe it's worth trying something different." "You have time to think," Robert said gently. "And you know what? Whatever you choose, I will support you. Do you want to study in New York? We'll help you get admitted. Do you want to stay home? That's fine too. The main thing is that you are happy." After lunch, they went to the Harlem Stage Theater. Robert had a rehearsal for a new play and wanted to introduce his daughter to the company. "Just don't worry," he said on the way. "Actors are simple, kind people. They'll be happy to see you." The theater made an unforgettable impression on Anna. A beautiful old building, a luxurious lobby with marble columns, and portraits of great actors on the walls. And when they entered the auditorium, her breath caught. Red velvet seats, a huge stage, a painted ceiling. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Robert smiled, noticing his daughter's admiration. "I've worked here for 10 years, but I still admire this beauty every day." A rehearsal was taking place on the stage. Actors in ordinary clothes were reading lines. The assistant director was making notes in a notebook. The lighting designer was adjusting the lights. "Everyone, meet my daughter, Anna," Robert said, stepping onto the stage. Anna felt her cheeks flush. The word daughter sounded unfamiliar, yet so warm and proud coming from her father. The lead actress of the theater, a beautiful woman in her 40s wearing a silver dress, approached them. "Natalie Vance, pleased to meet you," she introduced herself. "Robert has told us so much about you. You really do look a lot alike." "Yes," agreed an older actor with a distinguished face. "The same lips, the same smile." Anna shyly greeted the actors. They were very kind. They asked about her life, joked, and told interesting stories from theater life. "Would you like to try your hand at acting?" Natalie asked. "You have a very expressive face, a pleasant voice, and most importantly, there's something special. Magnetism." "I've never thought about it," Anna replied, embarrassed. "Well, that's a shame. In our business, the main thing isn't education, it's talent and desire. You can acquire an education, but talent is a gift from above." After the rehearsal, Robert showed Anna the entire theater building, the dressing rooms, makeup areas, and set workshops. She looked with interest at the costumes, wigs, and theatrical props. "It's a whole world," she said. "So complex and interesting." "Yes, the theater is a special universe," her father agreed. "Beauty is created here. People experience real emotions here. It's very important work, helping people think, feel, and become better." In the evening, they had dinner in the apartment. Robert cooked himself. It turned out he was a good chef. "I had to learn," he laughed, stirring something in the pan. "When you live alone, you inevitably become self-sufficient." During dinner, they talked about the past, the future, and life. Robert spoke about his plans for the new theater season, the plays he wanted to direct. Anna shared her doubts about choosing a profession. "You know," Robert said, "I think your mother wouldn't be against you choosing theater. She loved art herself. She often went to performances, read plays." "Seriously?" "Of course. We met precisely because of a shared love for the theater, and she always said that the main thing in life is to find your calling." Late that night, Anna lay in her room, unable to sleep. The day had been so intense and emotional that she needed time to process everything. Her father turned out to be exactly as she had imagined from his letters: kind, talented, and sincerely regretful of his mistakes. "Mama," she thought, looking at the ceiling, "you were right. He's a good person, and I understand why you loved him." Sunday morning began with breakfast on the terrace. Robert lived on the top floor, and the terrace offered a beautiful view of Old Harlem: red rooftops, golden church domes, green parks. "I drink coffee here every morning," he said, pouring freshly squeezed orange juice for his daughter. "And I think of you and your mom. I imagine how the three of us would be having breakfast here if everything had been different." "Do you regret what happened?" Anna asked. "Every day. But you know what I've understood over the years? You can't live in the past. What matters is what we have now. And now I have you, the dearest thing there can be." After breakfast, they went for a walk through Harlem. Robert showed his daughter his favorite spots: small cafes, antique shops, art galleries. In one of the galleries, there was an exhibition of theater photographs, and in several images, Anna saw her young father, passionate about his work. "This was about 15 years ago," he said, looking at the photograph. "I was directing Hamlet then, one of my favorite plays." "You haven't changed," Anna smiled, "just as passionate about your work. Theater preserves the youth of the soul, Robert replied. "When you work with art, you don't age inside." In one of the bookstores, they bought several plays by contemporary playwrights that Robert recommended his daughter read. If you decide to connect your life with the theater, start with this. A good play is the foundation of a performance. During lunch at a cozy restaurant in Harlem, they were joined by a man in his 50s, Robert's colleague, the director of a neighboring theater. "Michael Foster," he introduced himself. "Your dad's old friend. Very happy to meet you, Anna." "Michael is one of the best directors in New York," Robert said. "He has an excellent intuition for talented people." Michael Foster looked intently at Anna. "And you have a very interesting look for the theater. Expressive eyes, balanced features, good diction. If you want to apply to drama school, reach out to me. I'll help you prepare." "Thank you," Anna replied, embarrassed. "But I haven't decided yet." "Don't rush the decision," Foster said. "But if your soul leans toward the theater, don't miss the opportunity. Talent is a gift that must be developed." After lunch, they returned to the apartment, and Robert showed his daughter his office. It was a large room with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, an antique desk, and a piano in the corner. "I work on plays here," he explained. "I read plays, create staging concepts, and sometimes play the piano. It helps me think." "Dad?" Anna, for the first time in days, called him by that word. "Tell me in detail what happened back then. I want to know the whole truth." Robert was silent for a long time. Then he sat down in an armchair opposite his daughter and began to recount. "I was young, foolish, arrogant. Success in the theater went to my head. I decided I could afford anything. A new actress, Soleil Walker, appeared at the theater, beautiful, talented, ambitious. She showed me interest, flirted, hinted, and to my shame, I gave in. I thought it would just be an affair, nothing serious, but it dragged on for several months, and then Angelica found out. How did she find us? She came to the theater after the premiere to congratulate me on the success. She brought my favorite cake, and I was with Soleil." Robert couldn't finish the sentence. And what happened next? At first, she didn't say a word, just turned and left. At home, she confronted me. She cried, shouted, demanded an explanation. I swore that it meant nothing, that it would never happen again. "Mom believed you?" She wanted to believe. We tried to fix the relationship, but after 6 months, it happened again with the same woman, yes. And then Angelica understood that nothing would change. She was a woman of principle. For her, betrayal was unforgivable. Anna was silent, thinking about what she had heard. "And did you love her?" she finally asked. "I loved her very much, and I still do," Robert answered honestly. "You know what the most terrible thing is? Back then, I didn't understand what I was losing. I thought family was a given, that you could play with fire and not get burned. The realization came later, when it was already too late. And what happened to that actress, Soleil?" She quickly found a new patron, a producer from another theater. It turned out I was just a stepping stone in her career. A year later, she left for the West Coast and never returned. "And you understood that you had lost your family for nothing." "Exactly, because of my ego, my momentary weakness, my desire to feel irresistible, stupidity that I've been paying for 18 years. Anna stood up and walked to the window. Harlem was bustling below. Passers-by hurried about their business. Street musicians played melodies. "But you changed," she said, without turning around. "I can feel it." "Yes, I changed. I understood what true love means, what family means, but it was too late. Your mother was unbending, and you kept trying to find her all this time?" "First, I traveled to cities myself, asked acquaintances, placed ads in newspapers. Then I hired private investigators. One of them recently found their trail, but when he reported it to me, I forbade him from meeting you directly. I decided I had to work through Elias." "Why?" "Because I understood. You can't burst into someone else's life like a barbarian. You had to decide for yourself if you wanted to see me." In the evening, when it was time to prepare for the train, Robert gave his daughter a gift, a beautiful little box made of red mahogany. "This belonged to your grandmother, my mother," he said. "She asked me to give it to her granddaughter when she grew up." Inside the box was an antique brooch with precious stones and a note. "To my dearest granddaughter, Anna, from your grandma Isabella. Be happy, my dear." "She passed away 5 years ago," Robert said quietly. "She waited to see you until her last days." "I had a grandmother," Anna whispered, examining the brooch, "and I never saw her." "She loved you very much. Your baby picture still hangs in her room." At the station, they couldn't part for a long time. Robert kept talking and talking, as if afraid this would be their last meeting. "Promise you'll call. Promise you'll come again. I'm ready to come see you every weekend if it's not too much trouble." "I promise," Anna said, and suddenly realized she sincerely meant it. "And I'll think about applying to school in New York." "Really?" Robert's face lit up. "That would be wonderful. We could make up for the lost time." On the train, Anna couldn't calm down for a long time. 2 days in New York had turned her whole life upside down. She had seen another world, the world of theater, art, and great opportunities, and she understood that her suburban life no longer satisfied her. But most importantly, she had found her father, a person who sincerely loved her, who was ready to give her everything he could, and her mother was right to guide her toward him. Mom's final lesson, Anna thought, looking out the window at the passing lights. A lesson in forgiveness and love. At home, in the apartment, everything seemed small and cramped after the spaciousness of New York. Anna told Mrs. Howard about her father, the theater, and the prospects opening up for her in the city. "So you've decided to move?" the neighbor asked, listening closely to the story. "I don't know yet," Anna answered honestly. "On one hand, I really want to. On the other, it's scary to leave everything familiar, to go so far away." "And what does your heart say?" Anna pondered. Her heart told her to take a risk, to try living a new way, but her mind urged caution. The next day, she spoke with Uncle Elias on the phone. He asked about the trip and listened carefully to all the details. "I'm glad everything worked out," he said. "Robert has truly changed. You can even sense it in our phone conversations with him." "Uncle Elias, what would Mom have done in my place?" "Your mother was a very brave woman," he replied after a pause. "When decisions had to be made, she wasn't afraid to take risks. I remember how she left her hometown alone with a small child in her arms, not knowing what awaited her. That took enormous courage." "So it's worth it?" "I think so. You have your father's support. There are opportunities for growth, and if something goes wrong, you can always come back. You're young, you have your whole life ahead of you." Robert called every day, talking about his business, asking about her plans, and carefully checking if she had changed her mind about moving to New York. "If you want to try applying for acting at the Juilliard School of Drama, we can submit applications," he said in one conversation. "And if you don't get in, we'll try another school. There are many great universities in New York. The main thing is your desire to study and grow." Anna thought for a long time. The Juilliard School seemed like an unreachable dream. What did she know about dramatic art? But on the other hand, 2 days at the theater showed her that this world strongly attracted her. Finally, she made a decision. "Dad, I want to try applying to the Juilliard School of Drama." "Really?" The joy in Robert's voice was genuine. "Then come as soon as possible. We need to prepare for the auditions. I'll find the best coaches. We'll work every day." "But what if it doesn't work out?" "It will work out," he said confidently. "You have natural ability, you have desire, and the rest is a matter of technique and preparation." The preparations for New York took several days. Anna packed the most necessary things. She said goodbye to friends and colleagues at the cafe. Marina Jackson was sad to lose a good employee, but wished her luck. "You're doing the right thing, sweetheart. There are more opportunities in New York, and if you want to come back, there will always be work here." Uncle Elias came to see her off at the station. As they said goodbye, he handed her an envelope with cash. "This is for the first while," he said. And if you need more, call me. I'm proud of you, Anita. You're making the right choice. On August the 1st, Anna once again boarded the train to New York, this time with a large suitcase and the firm intention of staying in the city for a long time. Robert met her with a bouquet of flowers and a wide smile. "Welcome home, daughter." The word home sounded unfamiliar but pleasant. Anna was beginning to understand that New York truly could become her home. Preparation for the Juilliard School auditions began the very next day. Robert found the best coaches for his daughter, an esteemed voice and diction professor, a choreographer, and a drama coach. "We have little time," he said, putting together her class schedule. "But if you're serious, everything will work out." The days became incredibly intense. In the morning, diction classes with Irene Miller, a renowned artist who once taught at Juilliard herself. She taught Anna proper breathing, worked on her voice projection, and practiced her articulation. "You have a good natural voice," she said, "but you need to learn to control it, to turn it into an instrument of dramatic art." After lunch, acting classes with Omar Davis, a well-known stage actor. He taught her the fundamentals of the profession: how to work with a script, how to create a character, how to sense her partner on stage. "Acting isn't just talent," he explained. "It's a craft you have to learn your whole life. Every role is a new challenge, a new task." In the evening, choreography with Sandra Reed. Anna had never seriously practiced dance, and these lessons were especially difficult for her. "An actor must master their body," the choreographer said. "Every movement must be conscious and expressive." Robert helped his daughter prepare for the auditions, selecting suitable monologue fragments and rehearsing scenes with her. "The main thing is not to be afraid," he said. "The panel will assess your potential, not your current skill. Show them your desire to learn and grow." During 2 weeks of intense preparation, Anna felt herself changing. She became more confident, learned to control her breathing and voice. She began to understand the fundamentals of dramatic art. "You're an exemplary student," Robert said, watching her classes. "It's clear you work with total dedication. I'm proud of you." Every evening they walked through New York, and her father showed his daughter the city, Times Square under the nightlights, the Hudson River waterfront, and old courtyards. He told her about the history of the theater, about great actors of the past, and how stage art developed in America. "Theater isn't just entertainment," he said. "It's a way to understand life, a way to talk to people about important things. A good actor can change the world for the better." During these weeks, a warm, trusting relationship developed between father and daughter. Anna stopped being embarrassed. She began to share her thoughts, doubts, and future plans with him. "You know," she said one evening, "I think Mom would be happy. I feel her presence nearby, her support." "Of course she would be happy," Robert agreed. "Angelica always wanted the best for you, and the fact that she guided you toward me speaks of her wisdom and magnanimity." Uncle Elias called every few days, asking about her audition preparation, giving advice, and providing moral support. "Remember," he said, "no matter what happens at the auditions, you've already achieved so much. You found your father, found a family, and discovered a new world. That's already a victory." August the 15th, audition day, arrived. Anna woke up early, feeling both nervous and focused. Robert made breakfast, but she had no appetite. "Are you nervous?" he asked. "Very," she answered honestly. "That's normal. Nerves help you mobilize. The main thing is to remember everything we learned and just be yourself." The Juilliard School welcomed them with a solemn atmosphere. The school's lobby was crowded with applicants from all over the country. Conversations in different accents could be heard. There was a feeling of tension and expectation. "I won't go any further," Robert said at the entrance. "You must walk this path alone. I'll wait for you here." The auditions were conducted in several stages. First, the monologue reading, where she had to read a fragment from a classic play. Anna chose the monologue of Beneatha from Lorraine Hansberry's A Raisin in the Sun, a play she had rehearsed extensively with her father. Excellent choice, said one of the panel members. A very complex role for a beginner actress. Anna began to read, and gradually everything else disappeared. The panel, the nervousness, the fears. She became Beneatha, the young woman dreaming of freedom and self-discovery. Her voice sounded confident, and her emotions were sincere. "Thank you," the panel chair said when she finished. "Very good. You have natural ability." The second stage was improvisation. She had to perform a scene on a given theme. Anna was given the task, waiting for important news. She remembered waiting for her exam results in high school, how nervous she had been before her father's call, and she poured those emotions into a small scene. "Interesting interpretation," one of the professors noted. "The girl knows how to observe life and translate her observations to the stage." The third stage was the interview. The panel members asked about her motivation, her understanding of the acting profession, and her future plans. "Why the theater specifically?" the dean asked. "Because the theater allows you to understand people," Anna replied. "Every role is a chance to live another life, understand another person, and transmit that understanding to the audience. And are you ready for the difficulties? The acting profession is very complex. Lots of rejection, disappointment, uncertainty." "Ready," Anna said firmly. "I understand it won't be easy, but I'm ready to work and learn." The final test was a check of musical skills. She had to sing a song with piano accompaniment. Anna chose "Lift Every Voice and Sing," a song her mother loved and often hummed at home. When all the auditions were over, Anna came out to her father, tired but satisfied with herself. "How did it go?" he asked with emotion. "Well, I think," she replied. "I did everything I could." "The results will be announced in 3 days," Robert said. "In the meantime, let's celebrate. You were exemplary." They went to a restaurant where Robert ordered a festive dinner. At the table, he told his daughter about his own auditions at the School of Drama many years ago. "I was very nervous too," he recalled. "But the main thing was to show the panel that I had a passion for the theater and a desire to grow. And you have that. I saw it in your eyes today." The 3 days of waiting dragged on endlessly. Anna couldn't settle down. She constantly thought about the auditions, analyzing every word the panel had said. "Don't overthink it," Robert said. "What will be, will be. The main thing is that you tried." On August the 18th, the results were announced. Anna had been admitted. Her name was on the list of students accepted into the freshman class of the drama division. "I don't believe it," she whispered, looking at the list. It's true, daughter." Robert hugged her, and they both cried tears of joy. "You got into one of the best drama schools in the country." That evening, they held a real party. Robert invited his friends, actors and directors who congratulated Anna on her acceptance. "To our future star," Michael Foster toasted. "To talent, hard work, and luck. To family," Robert added, "and to the fact that we finally found each other." Anna called Uncle Elias and told him the joyful news. "Uncle, I got into Juilliard. Can you believe it?" "Congratulations, dear." Elias's voice trembled with emotion. "I'm so happy for you. Your mother would have been thrilled." "Thank you for everything. If it weren't for you, I never would have known the truth. I wouldn't have found Dad." "It's destiny, Anna. Your mother planned everything correctly." Studies at the Juilliard School turned out to be even more complex and fascinating than Anna had imagined. Every day brought new discoveries: theater history, acting, voice and speech, dance, singing. Her classmates were students from all over the country, each with their own story and dreams. Anna quickly integrated into the group and made friends with several other girls. "You're lucky," her friend Natasha told her. "You have family support, and we're all alone here." Robert followed his daughter's successes, helping with advice, but not interfering with the educational process. "You have to walk this path yourself," he said. "I can only support you." The professors noticed Anna's abilities, her hard work, and her responsibility. In her freshman year, she was already given a small role in a student play. "You have good natural ability," said the acting professor. "But the main thing is that you know how to listen and hear. That's a rare quality for a beginner actor." By the end of the first semester, Anna understood that she had made the right choice. Theater became for her not just a profession, but a way of life, a way of understanding the world. During the winter break, she went home to Decatur. She met with Uncle Elias and visited her mother's grave. "Mom," she said, standing by the monument, "I'm studying at Juilliard in New York. I have a dad who loves me very much. Everything worked out just as you wanted." Uncle Elias was also happy with the changes in his niece's life. "You've changed," he said. "You've become more confident, more grown up. It shows that you are doing what you love." "Have you thought about moving to New York?" Anna asked. "Dad says they need good doctors at the hospitals there." "I have thought about it," Elias admitted. "Here, after my wife's death, everything reminds me of the past, and in New York, I would be closer to you." "Then move. We'll be a real family." In the spring, Uncle Elias really did move to New York. He took a position as a cardiac surgeon in the department at one of the main clinics. He rented an apartment close to Robert's. "Now I have a daughter and a brother," Robert joked. "A real family." They often got together, had dinner, went to the theater, and walked through New York. Anna talked about her studies, sharing her future plans. "You know," she said one spring evening as they sat on her father's terrace, "I think Mom is looking down on us and smiling. Her plan worked. We became a family." "Your mother's final lesson," Elias said thoughtfully. "A lesson in forgiveness and love." "Yes," Robert agreed. "Angelica taught us the most important thing, that family is more important than pride, and that love is stronger than resentment." By the end of her freshman year, Anna already had a significant role in the senior students' final production. Robert and Elias came to the premiere and cried with pride watching Anna on stage. "A true actress," Robert whispered. "Look at how she lives the role, how she connects with her partner." After the play, a respected drama professor from the school approached them. "Your daughter is very talented," she said to Robert. "She has the main thing an actor needs, the ability to live a real life on stage." In the summer, the three of them, Anna, Robert, and Uncle Elias, went to the country house upstate New York. Elias took vacation and spent the entire month of July with them at the house. They walked in the pine forest, grilled barbecue, read aloud, and discussed future plans. Anna dreamed of someday acting in a professional theater. Robert was planning new plays. Elias was getting used to life in New York. "You know," he said one evening as they sat on the deck, watching the sunset, "I think Mom planned everything correctly. She knew that we would find each other and become a real family." "Your mother was a very wise woman," Robert agreed. "Even in her passing, she knew how to make a lesson of love and forgiveness." "Mom's final lesson," Anna repeated quietly. "She taught us to forgive, to love, and to value what we have." They sat in silence, each lost in thought. Somewhere far away, birds were singing. The air smelled of pine needles and summer flowers. Anna thought about how much her life had changed this year. Just last spring, she was a lonely orphan in a small city, and now she had a loving father, a caring uncle, a beloved occupation, and a bright future. "Mama," she whispered, looking at the stars, "thank you for everything, for your love, for your wisdom, for giving me these wonderful people, for the final lesson that became the most important one in my life." And it seemed to her that somewhere far away, among the twinkling stars, her mother smiled and said, "Be happy, my dear girl. You deserve this happiness. I will always be close to you." By her sophomore year, Anna was a confident young woman who knew exactly what she wanted from life. She had a family that loved and supported her. She had an occupation that brought her joy and inspiration. She had a future full of plans and hopes. Robert often told colleagues that he was grateful to fate for this second chance. "I lost 18 years of my daughter's life, but I gained the opportunity to become a real father. That's worth a lot." Uncle Elias also changed with the move to New York. He became more open, more joyful. He found a new meaning in life, At the hospital, he was respected as a high-class specialist. His newfound family was close by. "You know," he said once during a family dinner, "I think Angelica is looking down on us and smiling. Her final plan was the most successful. It united all of us." "Yes," Anna agreed. "Mom's final lesson turned out to be the most important. She taught us that love is stronger than resentment, that forgiveness is more important than pride, and that family is the most important treasure in life." 2 more years passed. Anna successfully studied at Juilliard. She acted in student plays and worked in a studio theater. Robert was working on an ambitious new project, a production of Hamlet, in which he planned to give his daughter a significant role. Uncle Elias became one of New York's top cardiac surgeons. On the 3rd anniversary of her mother's death, all 3 of them went to the cemetery in Decatur. They placed flowers on the grave and stood in silence, each mentally thanking Angelica for her wisdom and selflessness. "Mama," Anna said, touching the cold granite of the monument with her hand, "we're living just as you wanted. We are happy. We are family. Thank you for the final lesson, the most important lesson of your life." And as they left the cemetery, all 3 felt that Angelica Williams was walking beside them, invisibly blessing their happiness. Her final lesson, a lesson in love, forgiveness, and wisdom, remained forever in their hearts, lighting the path to true human happiness. That evening, back in New York, they sat in Robert's living room, looking at old photographs. In one of them, Robert and Angelica, very young with little Anna in their arms. All 3 were smiling, and you could see how happy they were. "You know," Anna said quietly, "I think Mom forgave all of us, for the mistakes, for the stubbornness, for the lost years, and she gave us the chance to start all over again." "That is true love," Robert replied. "The ability to forgive and give second chances." "Angelica's final lesson," Uncle Elias added, "a lesson that changed all our lives for the better." They sat in silence, thinking about the past and the future, about how thin the line is between happiness and sorrow, and how important it is to know how to forgive and be forgiven. And somewhere high above, among the stars, Anna's mother smiled at her loved ones, rejoicing in their reunion and blessing their onward journey. Maternal love turned out to be stronger than time, pride, and offense. Angelica Williams's final lesson became the beginning of a new life for all 3 of them, a life filled with understanding, forgiveness, and the very family love that makes life worth living. Did you like my story? And which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you like the story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story with love and respect.